Folks, choosing new songs to sing to you each week is not an easy task. I listen to many songs and trying to find one you like because, after all, that's what I'm here for, to please you. Here's a song I hope you'll find as pleasant to listen to as I do to sing.
Everybody who don't have a voice, everyday human being who ain't had that choice. Everybody scared to speak for the people that's weak. I do this for the outcasts, the weirdos, the uniques. I am the voice of my generation, and I'ma stand strong 10 toes is when I'm placing. No more spectating, just waiting, feeling complacent. Racing the destinations, changing my inspiration. I used to want to play ball till reality hit, and life was a game, then I started battling it. But I'ma tell you what, I'ma keep on going up, and I'ma drop bomb at the bomb until I'm blowing up on my own pilot. What you know about it? About them long gold shifts until your bones tired. About them blood, sweat, and tears, you don't know crying. Been down for hella years, you don't know climbing. But I'm grinding, knowledge and power's what I'm supplying, and you can be free from the beasts, keep trying. The beast is whatever got you stuck where you are. When you down on luck, be tough, don't ever fall day. Not gonna see it how you see it, so you gotta show them. If you believe it, then achieve it, dream to climb the totem. To be the best, yeah, I'm going for that. And if you're sleeping on me, cool, keep enjoying your nap. Cause I'ma keep on pushing, I'ma keep on trying, I'ma keep on working, I'ma keep on flying. Them police sirens is all we hearing in the hood. They claiming we inferior, they say we no good, but he say, she say, I say, we say. Time to bring love on back like a replay. Time to rise above, get back up like D-Wade. Time to get inspired, fired up like a heat wave, let it burn. Them haters no concern, cause what they gon' do to somebody that know their worth. Somebody that put in work, somebody that broke their curse and now they flying high. Cause they was down in the dirt and now we up now, touchdown. Everybody winning, sometimes a bad ending leads to a good beginning. And it's all about the fight and how you put up your deuce. In the world full of lies, I came to give you the truth. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of Community Soldier Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Counts. I'm just one of many, the voice of Community Soldier, Jackson, Michigan. Good morning. We got a wonderful show for you guys today. Got a lot of information to give you. A couple articles I'd like to discuss. And also got a special guest today. Her name is Laura Stevens. You might remember that name because she ran for 4th Ward for Jackson. She lost a very tight race against Laura Dwyer. You might also recognize her name because she was the director of daily operations at the Jackson Interfaith Shelter. Previously, before that, she was a combat medic in the Army. She is definitely a community soldier. It's going to be a good show today. I can feel it. A lot of great topics. First on the local news, looks like Governor Whitmer has extended the stay-at-home order until May 28th. So we are still on lockdown, quarantine. A lot of people are upset about that. A lot of people are still upset. But we are still seeing a lot of deaths, especially in communities with a high concentration of low-income people. We're still seeing a lot of deaths with elderly, people with preconditions. And right now, the numbers are just still messy, too messy for us to even determine whether it's safe for us to do anything or not. I like to look at what the sports leagues are doing. It seems like some of them are in a rush to get back, but in other leagues, it seems like they're not in a rush at all. I see Dana White has a UFC event scheduled. We'll see how that turns out. A lot of co-workers that I know in the social work field They're not ready to go back to work yet. They just don't feel comfortable, especially dealing with the communities that we deal with, always having to go in and out of people's homes. A lot of them are just not ready to do that just yet. Our prison system struggling with COVID-19. In the news, it seems there's an article where it talks about 3 inmates that were sent to a prison that had COVID-19. They tested positive for COVID-19, but due to a mix-up in the testing or in some procedures or in some paperwork, these inmates were sent to a population of prisoners who were negative for the coronavirus. So now they had to quarantine more prisoners. That these 3 prisoners that they sent to this prison, it's just a big mess. I don't know who dropped the ball on this one, but someone dropped the ball. They sent 3 prisoners who were positive for COVID-19 to a prison with a population with 0 positive cases. We can't afford errors like this during this pandemic. These are the errors that we cannot afford. These are the type of errors that will continue to increase this virus's ability to spread, which will further continue to put us on quarantine and further put us on lockdown and further destroy all of our economic systems. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about that. Well, let's get Laura on the line, man. We want to see what she has to say. I'm excited for this interview. We're going to call her up. Let's get her on the line. But first, let's get a quick track, man.
Yeah, this a banger for you.
Do say.
Shout out to hood, they know I'm a god. Keep it 100, can't rock with the fraud. I'm the front runner, no not a runner. Running the torch for the hood. See a young that they misunderstood. Never wanna see a young prosper. I ain't doing trims, I'm in the cut like a barber. Hustler father. I'm from the neighborhood, got attitude like that. Only dream of ball hard and stomp with the shit that they never had. Y'all say y'all street, y'all ain't going no block. Keep your legs closed. You say just once top. You keep the basic. Mike just wanna ride us out. I'm young dude, say yo baby daddy know not to try. I'm got the juice, go by far. Got the prescriptions in a jar. Really hold all the cards. Mike the man, yo, who a star. Shout out the hood, they know I'm a god. Keep it 100, can't rock with the fraud. I'm the front runner, no not a runner. Running the torch for the hood. See a young, they misunderstood. Never wanna see a young prosper. I ain't doing trims, I'm in the car like a barber. Hustler father. Hood star, my turn. Link strong, no burn. Light it up, get the guap. All these wanna turn up, but you live and you learn. Play with fire, get burned. I'm going #1 this year. Riding this bitch in the 6th gear. Looked up to Pablo, Big Meech, L Chopper, my top 3. Check was serving the sidewalk. Cop the drop, hopped in the streets. Name a youngin' as hot as me.
All right. We got Miss Laura Stevens on the line. How you doing, Miss Laura?
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Justin. Doing pretty good.
Yes, it is a good morning. How are you doing? And can you introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about yourself for us?
Sure. My name is Laura Stevens. I am currently a program manager for Home of New Vision, and I'm also a board member of Jackson Harm Reduction. Yeah.
Wow. Jackson Harm Reduction, Home of New Visions, a lot of different hats. That's great.
That's right.
So you're still currently working with Home of New Visions. What are you doing down there?
So at Home of New Vision, as a program manager, part of my job is to, create opportunity for those who are in recovery or would like to enter into recovery. We run different meetings and groups and educate the community on, abstinence and different things like that. Yeah. And as the opportunities arise for different programs in our community, then I'll jump on them.
Yes, I see you're always involved. You're always out there. I mentioned before you came on that you also ran for 4th Ward. It was a very tight race. We were all pulling for you. But
that was an incredible opportunity. I'm really grateful for that chance. I might have lost by 16 votes, but I won a lot. Yes. By doing that. I met incredible people throughout my ward. I learned more about my city and our needs and how things are done and the potential that we can have to get more things done in the future.
Yes, it did seem like more opportunities came to you after running.
But yeah, sometimes you have to step out of your shell and start putting yourself out there and honestly letting people know what you can do for them, what you're willing to do for them, and share your talent.
Yes, that's the truth. I see that you were the director of operations at the Interfaith Shelter for a long time too as well. So you have a passion for working with the homeless community?
Correct.
Okay, what made you want to start working with the homeless?
So it goes back many years. After finishing school, I knew that I was going to work in the social work field and do case management. And my first opportunity came from working with homeless veterans, actually, through Community Action Agency. And wow, you start to really understand the different dynamics that are involved in homelessness. And the more that I studied it and learned it and watched it and helped people navigate it, it just started to become very natural, how I could help navigate people out of things and how you can describe things to people and encourage them and help them through their housing barriers.
What would you say is the biggest challenge for the homeless population here in Jackson for them to overcome?
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges that we all know is an opportunity for affordable housing. That's an ongoing issue in Jackson, and there's many amazing groups that are doing that work and fighting that fight so that the opportunity is available. I can also honestly say that there are many different dynamics to homelessness. And one of the biggest barriers that I have come across through my time is that people with substance use disorder and their homelessness go hand in hand. And as we understand, we know that in Michigan, we have a housing first model, right? Our goal is to get them housed.
Yes.
But sometimes we forget to address the barriers that have helped get them into homelessness. And one of those is substance use.
Yes.
And that has a lot of depth to it. And that process to help them overcome that is not easy. But that is one that specifically needs to be addressed. And that is how we will work through some of our hardest hit people who are experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, and it all makes sense. It all makes sense. Substance abuse, it goes, and it's also hand in hand with the mental health. And you see all these separate areas that actually need to be combined in order for us to have more success.
Yeah.
Right now, is the Interfaith Shelter closed?
So I know that it's temporarily closed as they're healing from their positive test results. And I know that there's a quarantine process that they have to go through. And I'm sure they're working hard to get themselves, back and operational at I'm sure, a 50% capacity.
Yes, I mentioned them because I saw that you were involved in creating a temporary or a new shelter. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. Honestly, this came to me through working with harm reduction. Most of our clients are literally homeless, and it was over and over and over we were engaging them. And then when COVID hit and we talked about the stay-at-home order, and we're looking at groups of people that are not staying at home. They do not have a home to stay, and they're not in a position to make sure that they can get healthy or stay healthy. So I initially had reached out to write a grant to try to see if I could potentially help them more by doing some hotel stays and things Then I heard that the shelter had positive cases. And my love for our community, those experiencing homelessness, and our shelter meant that I had to take my talents and put them to work. And once it started, it was the fastest train I've ever been on. And like I said, within 9 days, we produced a very high-functioning temporary emergency shelter.
Wow, that's amazing. I know for me, it was just, I just heard about it. I heard it being mentioned, and then next thing I know, then a few days later, it was like, hey, there's a new shelter open.
Yeah. And it took an incredible amount of community support. And somehow, some way, I'm going to have to be able to shout all these people out who are working behind the scenes to help me make this happen.
Yes, go ahead. Let's shout them out. They're all community soldiers.
Right on. Yes, they are. So, I want to thank the JCAN Housing Group who initially let me in on the call to listen to my plan. We have United Way who has backed us 100%. We have the YMCA who is offering us showers. And, we have a gentleman there whose name is Steve. He's opening the building up for us so that we can have that opportunity. Wow. I want to thank them for that. We have Calvary United Methodist Church who did not even hesitate to open their doors and allow this 2-month mission to take on. Wow. We have St. Paul's Church who has blessed us with a gentleman who is a great cook. And he's currently, not employed because of COVID. So our evening meals are nice and hearty, warm cooked meals by them. We want to thank them. River Tree Church has been offering us support from behind the scenes also. So many community members have come out of nowhere and provided our needs. We literally put it to the universe and to God, and it is provided. And that's how we are functioning right now.
Wow. Let me give all those people a round of applause.
Absolutely. You got the health department on it also. I put them in. We had to, right? We have a community situation going on, and I wanted to make sure that we were healthy and doing the right thing.
Yes.
So we also ran our plan by them, and they're supportive of it. We have Center for Family Health who is aware that we're here and ready to take on some of our medical issues if any of those arise. I mean, how awesome is that too, right?
Yeah, yes. Especially to get all these different agencies to come together so fast.
Oh, yes, definitely. Without hesitation.
Yes, that's amazing. That's amazing. But I've always said that our city, Jackson, we may have a lot of problems, but one thing we do have is a lot of people willing to step up and make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Look at some of the current groups happening right now, right? You have Partial the Girls, you have JCAN groups. All these groups have identified a need that needs to be filled, right? Yes. And so they're taking their passions, talents, and they're making it happen. And this is one thing that I truly believe in people, that we forget our strengths, our worth, and our ability. And if you've got something that is going to benefit our community, step up, present it, and make it happen.
Yes.
Let's be about it.
Yes, exactly. So do you see yourself doing the shelter for forever, or just is it temporary?
So honestly, that's a great question. So we know that the next 2 months our shelter is going to be running. And I've spoke with some case managers, and we think that what we're learning here and what we were able to do could be used in the future. So we were not prepared initially, right, to address an emergency response. But now we are. Now we are. Now we have a temporary emergency shelter action plan, essentially.
Yes.
And I would like this to be able to be used for cold weather, for, incidents like what we're experiencing now.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense. So anytime that our normal avenues get overwhelmed, we can just pop up an emergency situation really quick.
Yes, because we know how to do it.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So a couple questions I have left. One of them is, if you could start any program in Jackson and have it be picked up statewide, what would that be?
That's a great question. Of course, I love programs and creating and doing, and I'm sure a million more will come my way. But one of them that is really exciting, and Home A New Vision actually has one of these in Ann Arbor, it's called an engagement center. An engagement center is actually like a 24-hour shelter per se, but what it does is it works with those who have substance use disorders. So maybe somebody has experienced an overdose, maybe somebody's body is tired, maybe they're ready to start that walk towards their pathway to recovery. And this is a place that gives them that opportunity, because you have recovery coaches, you have people who have that knowledge and understanding to help them move forward. Mm-hmm. And so we need to create that in our community so that we are not overwhelming the current shelter system with people who are on a different path.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. I like that. A lot of people are wary of engaging substance abuse topics. They just don't understand it. And I think that in order for us to really gain some grounds, we're going to have to start educating folks so that we can break some of these stigmas that we have surrounded substance abuse and things of that nature. So if there was one of those stigmas or something that you can maybe testify as something that's wrong or wrong thinking, can you shine some light on maybe something? Just give us a little something that you got as far as stigma-wise.
Okay, so breaking the stigma with substance use disorder is incredibly important, because when we put that negative title and pressure on it, people are not going to want to come out and come clean, right? It's a difficult and very dirty subject, right? And it's scary. Anything that you don't really have an understanding of can be very scary. And so we have to educate them on this. You know, if somebody was a diabetic, right, we would treat them. We wouldn't punish them for continuing to eat sugar and things like that, right? We would address them as a whole. We would break it down for them. It is the same thing with substance use disorder, okay? It's an illness. It's something that is bigger than them. And so we can't shame people for that. We have to help them walk out of that. What I know about substance use disorder and homelessness is when you give a person an ounce of humanity and you give them a little love and acknowledgement, like barriers start to come down, walls start to come down. We can have real conversations about what is happening and how we can help walk them out of it.
Wow. Yes, I agree. And you said something that was key. You said it was an illness. Why is it an illness and not a choice?
Very good. Okay, so sometimes we get, our mindset is that a lot of it is a choice. Okay, so yes, do they choose to take the step to maybe use the needle or smoke the drug? They do. But if you start backing it up, you need to go to the root of why. Some of these people have trauma beyond what we can imagine, right? And so they're coping. They're coping. That's their coping skill. Yes. Other people have experienced pain and like accidents and things like that. So they were initially introduced to a pain medication that got out of control because they were not walked through how to use it properly and then how to come off of it. And so then you're stuck, right? And when you have no support systems, you're going to go to those people who accept you. And if you're using, right, you're going to be around other people who use.
Yes.
You keep putting your place with people, places, and things are the things that get us in trouble with substance use. So,
yes, very correct. Very true. There are a lot of there are a lot of devices that we use as coping mechanisms. They don't always have to be drug use, and I try to let people know that. Some people choose drugs, but some people also choose to have loose sexual partners. Some people choose to have gambling addiction. So we all cope in different ways, and we all deal with trauma in different ways. So we can't really judge someone on how they choose to deal with the trauma.
Absolutely, Justin. I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, we are not in a position to judge, but we are in positions to help people come out of it. Because not all of us, understand it. Some of us have family members, right, that struggle with this.
Yes.
And you would want help for them also.
Exactly.
So we have to look at it like that. You know, we have to heal our community from the bottom up.
From the bottom up. That's exactly right. Now, I don't want to keep you all day. My last question is a question that I always ask every guest on the show. It's a big hypothetical what-if question, and it's a Jackson question. So it's basically this. If you could change one thing in Jackson to make it better for everyone, whether it be a policy, a law, or a stigma, or whatever it would be, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's a great question. So many things, right, that we could do. Some of it is I would love to change our silos that we live in. We need to get out of our own boxes and out of our own space, start looking at the world around us. It's only going to be better when we all are involved. We need to communicate better our needs and not think that our needs are greater than somebody else's. We need to invest into different areas of our community. Okay, so like we're growing some places and they're looking great and we're getting ready to move forward. But if not everybody is able to move forward and not everybody feels a part of that, that's a problem for me. That's a problem.
That's definitely.
So I want everybody from the bottom up to feel like they have a voice, they have an opportunity in Jackson, and that there are resources and people who care.
Hey, great answer. Definitely appreciate you for stopping in with us, Laura. We definitely appreciate all the work that you're doing in the community. You're definitely a community soldier. We definitely thank you for stopping by. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate you giving me the time to speak about what's going on around us right now.
Oh, anytime. You're always welcome to join the show.
All right. Well, you enjoy your Saturday and your family and keep doing what you're doing for us.
Yes, ma'am. You too. Stay safe out there.
Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow, that was a great interview. Let's give another round of applause to Laura Stevens and everything that she's doing for our community. Got a little bit of show left. So let's drop a couple resources real quick. All right, we got food pantries. First Evangelistic Kojic has food and clothing pantries. James W. Cooper Outreach Ministry Food Pantry. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, drive-through service, food is pre-boxed. Household good. They're able to do the first 75 families. Picture ID required. And their service is from 12 noon to 2 p.m. 12 noon, 2 p.m. Third Friday of the month. It's the third Friday of every month. Seventh-day Adventist Community Service has a food pantry. They also have a drive-through. Their hours are on Tuesdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're on 3600 County Farm Road, Jackson, Michigan. Their phone number is 517-784-4538. I'm sorry, 784-4538. Jackson Community Food Pantry. That's the one on Greenwood Avenue, 701 Greenwood Avenue. They provide food to area residents in need. You have to call them for more information. Their number is 517-962-1005. St. John's United Church of Christ. Food pantries and general clothing is provided. Their food pantry will remain closed until executive order is lifted, but they will help residents in need if you give them a call. Their phone number is 517-784-7580. We also have Central Wesleyan has a food pantry. They're on North Webster Street. Their phone number is 517-787-0081. They're usually only once a month. But due to the COVID-19, you have to call them first. And they can set up something for you. A lot of people are calling about housing needs, housing expenses. There are several agencies that may be able to help you. One is Community Action Agency. especially if you're a veteran. All the sites are closed to the public, but staff is currently working from home. You can call Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. There are housing programs for the homeless to help get them housed. Also, there's housing and shelter and eviction legal assistance available right now. You have to get on 211 in order to get some more information about that. But if your landlord is trying to illegally evict you during the COVID-19, there is legal help available. There's also rent payment assistance programs. You can find all the information on 211.com, or you can just call 211 from your phone. A lot of the same agencies are still helping with utilities. St. Vincent's, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Their lobbies are closed, but you can apply online, or you can pick up a paper application. Salvation Army will provide a one-time payment for utilities. Jackson County Department of Aging offer home-delivered meals for older adults. It's called Meals on Wheels. If you need some assistance in applying for Meals on Wheels, you think you may qualify, give this number a call, 517-788-4364. You have to be at least 60. You have to be homebound. But they are extending the eligibility. So right now, due to the COVID epidemic, you may be able to get approved for Meals on Wheels. Give them a call and find out. For those who own homes, people think that they can't get help on their mortgage, but you can. Same way anyone else does for rent through the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. File an SER form today online if you're fearing that you may be losing your home due to back mortgage. You can file a state of emergency relief for that. There's also Salvation Army, who will provide mortgage and rent payment assistance to prevent evictions. Michigan State Housing Development Authority also has foreclosure prevention and loan modification and refinancing programs available. They can help homeowners with up to $30,000 that can be used towards their first mortgage, or it can be used to help them reestablish a new mortgage with lower payments. All of these resources are available on 211.org. Just going on the site, you'll find that there's a lot of agencies that will help you, even with gas money. There's a program called Angel Wheels, who will help you with transportation expenses for assistance for medical appointments. A lot of people that I run across struggle with getting to medical appointments. Right here, there's a program out there that will actually help you get to your medical appointments. So now there is actually no excuse for not going to your medical appointments. All right, we got a new track. It's called Switching Lanes Radical featuring Dame Hayes.
Release this beat today.
Whoa, yeah. 28, yeah, baby. Ain't no stopping now.
It's next on the track.
Swerving while I switch lanes, speeding while I switch lanes. They hating on you, switch lanes. They plotting on you, switch lanes. Don't talk about it, just be about it. When you see a hater, switch lanes. No time to talk, I'm chasing paper. Do yourself a favor, switch lanes. Speeding while I switch lanes, hey, swerving while I switch lanes. They hating on you, switch lanes. They plotting on you, switch lanes. Don't talk about it, just be about it. When you see a hater, switch lanes. No time to talk, I'm chasing paper. Do yourself a favor, switch lanes. Yeah, I got no time for no haters. I got no time for no drama. I'm trying to count up these numbers. I'm trying to fuck up a summer. Jump on the beat and go dumber. Got your bitch all on my number. Stupid, she gave me a Hummer. I kicked her out like damn. I'm a new groove, I'm a new dude. I ain't worried about what they saying. My money told loud, I ain't hearing your boys. You're not on my level, I'm all the way up. Remy, all in my gut. Ayy, lit, ain't giving a fuck. Step wrong, I'm fucking you up. How many times gotta tell you I don't give a fuck? Got your bitch on my dick like a puppet. Bitch boy talking shit, better stop it. Switching lanes on the lane, no talking. Bitch boy, want your brain, get to walking. Better stay in your lane, you ain't fucking with me, boy. I'm a man, you an imitation. More like a bitch with a limitation. Mac truck ride, swerving, no hesitation. Swerving while I switch lanes. Speeding while I switch lanes. They hating on you, switch lanes. They plotting on you, switch lanes. Don't talk about it, just be about it. When you see a hater, switch lanes. No time to talk, I'm chasing.
Ask people to send us clean music because we are a family show. See, a lot of people don't follow the rules, but
I remember having nightmares of being 45 at a job where I clocked in at 10 and I still had to say yes sir like a slave to a man, and it hurts me cause honestly I know my worth. See, I got dreams of being heard, see, cause my words monumental, poet they monumental, and it should be deadly the way that this kid can stroke the mind of Ali, body of Carl Winslow. But I die for my family matters, I love my kinfolk, I do it for the kids who go home and write their bars about the dreams of winning Grammys, making families with the stars, the fast life, flashing lights, people know just who they are, couple mentions in the Hamptons, couple $1 million cars, whoa.
Slow down, you don't deserve that, Chuck, cause when you have good things, you tend to mess that up.
When I'm a stone cold winner, so excuse me, but sometimes my doubt kick and I gotta shut that up. But anyway, back to the winning, back to righting all the wrongs, back when I was sinning, doing all kind of things for the fame to fit in. Couldn't picture who I was, so I had to change my image. Can you dig it? I'm from a city where the kids got heat, and the way they double cheese is to cook up beef. No time to go to school, they gotta push that weed so they can ride around the town and be like, look at me. But when your daddy do it too, and your mama look away, cause everybody eating good, and them bills is getting paid. So as a kid, what do? When you wanna cop the J's, you get connected to the plug and started charging for the yay, man. Started charging for the yay, man. Man, we gotta do better. If we don't want it, they're not gonna want it for us. You feel me? So I had to let the beat breathe, so y'all can think about what I just said. Talk to your conscience about the knowledge that I just fed, and now you plotting in your noggin about your bread. How you can turn the slice into a bakery, from the street to flour bread, so you know it ain't no faking me. Fighting for ancestors to slavery, thinking that freedom was only make-believe. Fighting for Mike Brown and Sandra Bland, fighting for white and brown to make amends. Fighting for misfits and outcasts, we shall overcome. I'm all about that, and women, where your rights at? Cause y'all important to me, even though sometimes your story's boring to me. Y'all supposed to be the world, a part of the team, not just a side piece. Grandmother, I mean, Oprah made it, Taraji did too. Build your own dream and start marketing you. You ain't gotta shake your body just to make you few dollars. Get you a hobby, get a sponsor, read a book and get knowledge. Cause out here, everybody got something to say, but when it's time to pay their dues, they ain't got nothing to pay. Ain't got a pot to piss in, but they got rocks to throw. All this heat in the hood still can't stop the cold. All these churches preaching sermons, but we don't like to go, cause the streets finna preach past the lock and load. Oh no.
Much better content right there. When we ask for clean music, this is what we're looking for. That type of music right there. You know, I don't mind you talking about whatever it is you're talking about, but at least clean it up a little bit. I got another one from a young artist named Chris Taylor. His song is called Take It Slow.
You can rob me, you don't be shy. Cause I can beat it to the guy. If you vibe with me, to my vibe, I could take you off for tonight. Don't have to talk for you, girl. My face get to you. I'm learning everything and I'm loving all of it too. Cause I'm not gonna give up now. And the way we fight, I ain't gonna lie to you. You say you're right, and I'll be down for you, girl. Then what's like, we can make this do without a move. Just me and you, good girl. And take it slow, take it slow, take it slow. Yeah, I'm on the road, on the road, on the road. Yeah. You don't live this decision. It's no competition, yeah. I'm always winning it. Take all these missions, yeah. Cause I'm not gonna give up now. Can't give up now, can't give up now. Take my time with you. Take my time with you. Can I take my time with you? Take my time with you, girl. Yeah. Take my time with you. I'ma take it. Take my time with you. Take my time with you. I'ma take it. I'ma take it. Be sure to give me some feedback. Something like CBC.
Yeah. Now that's a track right there. That's how you do it. Let's get one more in before we get up out of here.
Yeah.
Shout out to AJ, yo.
Kiss me softly, gently, smooches, Frenchy, tongue-tied, dizzy. Your lips were made especially for kissing. You do it right, yeah. You do it right. May I say this moment is a blessing. Show you right, show you right. Oh no, don't let go, don't move till I say so. Eyes closed, shut heart beating faster than when we first met. Your heart beats racing. You ain't gotta be nervous, no hesitation. Your lips are perfect for this. So that you rest for a while now. Do it again and again. We can stay here, no need to move no faster. Baby, I don't mind, we can take our time. You ain't gotta say your words. Kiss me, yeah, kiss me. Baby, close your eyes. Kiss me, yeah. You're doing just fine. Kiss me, yeah. Your arms around me, baby. Kiss me.
Shout out to AJO with that track. It was called Kiss Me. That's real music right there. Real Jackson music. Good substance to it. I could appreciate a good song like that. Man, Laura Stevens had mentioned something just really came to my remembrance. She was talking about substance abuse and it being an illness. Now, that's another topic that a lot of people really aren't comfortable with talking about because a lot of people have a misconception or their own preconceived notion that a person that is struggling with substance abuse is making a choice, that they've made their choice and that they should deal with their consequences. But like I mentioned, science and studies have actually taught us that these choices that we make aren't really different from some of the choices that we may make in our lives that we may think that are better choices than someone who chooses to use drugs. Now, let me explain. See, in the ACEs study, these doctors, they started tracking their patients and some of their life experiences that were causing them to be in the situation that they currently were in. Some of them were in the doctors because they had diabetes or high blood pressure, or they had STDs, or they may have been abused as children, and now they are adults and now they're addicted to substances, illegal substances. This is something that they were seeing so common. And when they started to ask people questions, they started seeing certain things that were people had in common, and they started tracking them, and they started calling them ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. Now, an adverse childhood experience would be something like witnessing your parents go through a divorce. That would cause you to have 1 point. If you were in a home where you didn't feel totally safe because you may have had a parent who punished you, or may have spanked you too hard, or was always yelling, or maybe you had a parent who drank a lot and would come home and cuss mom out on a regular basis. These are adverse childhood experiences, and studies in science has actually shown us that a person who is growing up in a condition where they're experiencing a lot of trauma at a young age, that their brain development is actually affected by this, which causes them to actually make poor choices because key areas of the brain that control our decision making have been damaged. They've been damaged due to too much release of chemicals that cause our flight or fight responses, that adrenaline. When a child gets too much adrenaline activated into his brain at an age where they're not yet able to understand it or control it, it can actually damage their brains over time. Now, studies have shown people who have suffered from adverse child experiences, they tend to choose to cope with this trauma. Studies show that children who have ACEs they smoke cigarettes earlier. And they smoke cigarettes longer in life, which leads to many health problems later down the road. People who suffer ACEs also have poor sexual habits. So just because you didn't choose to get high, you're still coping with your trauma through poor sexual habits. And what is poor sexual habits? I mean, we know what poor sexual habits, when you're out there and you have multiple sex partners, when you meet someone and you're already having sex with them the first night. These are poor sexual choices, poor sexual habits. They may lead you to STDs. They may lead you to having 7 kids before you're 30. They may lead you to have, as a male, having 20 children and being on child support for the rest of your life. Or you could choose addiction of gambling. You may be buying scratch-off tickets in the hundreds. Or you might choose another addiction like shopping. There's many forms of coping mechanisms. Some don't seem on the surface as bad as others, but at the same time, there are still coping mechanisms. So that leads me back to where we were saying that this is not a choice. You see, when the person that overdoses and he passes away, when he decided to wake up and get high that day, he or she was not deciding to die. They were not choosing death, but they were choosing to soften the pain, to soften the trauma. And I can say this confidently because I've sat in many conferences. I've sat in many offices where one-on-one with clients who have broken down their life stories. And when you hear their life stories and you feel the pain of the situations that they've been through, when you can feel the trauma that they've experienced, how can I judge them for the choice that they made to block that trauma? I myself was a child who suffered from being abandoned. So I had abandonment issues. So we see people who suffer from abandonment issues, they try to please everyone in life because they want to be accepted. And that's how I lived my life, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be around people, always wanting to be loved. If you don't channel that, it can lead you down the wrong path. So when you recognize the reactions from your trauma, you can better deal with it. And this is what Laura's talking about. We're going to change the stigmas around substance abuse because studies are showing, real science is showing that substance abuse goes hand in hand with mental health. If you were a person who is schizophrenic, you may hear hundreds of voices in your head every second of the day. Voices saying some of the most evil things that you could ever imagine. And the only time those voices calm down is when you get high. How can I judge that man or that woman for making that choice? Have you ever had a migraine? Have you ever had a migraine that hurts so bad? That hurts so bad you'd be willing to take any pill that the doctor gave you. I heard Michael Jordan say in an interview, they said, if you knew that you had a headache and the doctor said, you take this pill, but 9 times out of 10, this pill is going to kill you, would you still take the pill? And Michael Jordan answered, he says, it depends how bad the headache is. It depends on how bad the headache is. That answer actually said a lot to me because it explains life for everybody. It depends on how much it hurts, how much hurt you're going through, how you deal with that hurt, how you deal with that pain. Everybody doesn't deal with that pain the same. Everyone's tolerance for pain isn't the same. So how we all deal with trauma isn't the same. So when we start to break down these issues, we can actually do more to help. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why a lot of community partners are starting to address all areas, not just, you're seeing even in the healthcare world, they're noticing that your health is directly correlated with your environment, right? With your environment. People who live on the south side of Jackson, your lifespan, your life average expectancy is lower than someone who lives in Northwest. Why is that? Doctors have asked this question. Why is that? That's because the people who live on the south side are subjected to more poisons. They're subjected to lower quality food. They're subjected to lower quality health care because of the fact that they are poor. That right there is called a healthcare disparity. We know that these things exist. So now, what do? We know these things exist. Now we help fill in the gaps by supplying more resources, giving more help, not condemning and judging, because the condemnation and the judgment gets us nowhere. We know that locking people up gets us nothing. We know that. People will get locked up and then they will come back into society and do the same thing that got them locked up before because we don't give any resources to help change. Now, one of our biggest issues in our community today is affordable housing. We don't have enough affordable housing. Why don't we have enough affordable housing? Because we have allowed our city politicians to destroy all of our houses. When you look on our side of the town, when you look on the south side, it looks like Swiss cheese. So many empty spaces where houses once stood. Houses that were here for 100 years. They're now gone, leaving people with nowhere to go. Thank God we have people in the community that recognize these things. And instead of making excuses or instead of judging, they stick their hand out and they help. Thank you for joining this edition of Community Soldier. Enjoy this track as we fade out.
Sold to the side, yeah. Tell me I'm that one who had the hose on the boat with every nigga in the jack.